In this video, we're going to be adding style and function to the bed of our 3rd gen Tacoma with some parts from Charvonia Design. Let's go ahead and show you guys how to get these installed. All right, so right here on the tailgate, we have the tools you're going to need to get these all installed. It's going to be pretty simple. We have a 3/8 ratchet, we have a small extension, a T40 Torx socket, and then we have a 6mm and a 4mm Allen wrench. And when it comes to difficulty of getting all these installed, it's going to be a 1 out of 3, so minimal mechanical skills is going to be required to get this job done. All right, right here on the tailgate, we have everything we're going to be installing from Charvonia, starting out with these right here. These are the Billet rail tie downs. These are going to be going on the side rails of your Tacoma. So we have 4 of them. We're going to be putting 2 on each side. Next up, we have the bed tie downs. So on the very front of your bed, you have a hook on either side. We're going to be replacing those with these nice billet ones. Next up, we have the center tie down. So on the very middle front of your bed, you have 2 riv nuts. That's simply just going to bolt right there and give you a tie down location in the front middle of your bed. Next up, we have these D-rings right here, and these are going to be replacing these factory ones. Simply just unbolt those, bolt these new ones in, you're good to go. And then down here we have some optional stuff. So we have some speed knobs here, and we also have some T-nuts. Both of these are going to be optional for the side rail tie downs to make things a little bit easier. And then we have some caps for the end of our rails. These are optional as well. Before we go ahead and get the install going, I want to mention that these are all available in a variety of different colors and finishes, but today we're going to be installing the red anodized ones. So let's go ahead and start with these rail tie downs and show you how to get them done. Okay, so we got the 4 rail tie downs here and everything that's going to be included with those. So you have your 4 tie downs, you have your backing plates, and then you have the standard Allen bolts that it comes with. And then we also have the speed knobs, which are optional, and the T-nuts, which we're also going to show you how to use those. So the T-nuts are going to come in handy for times where you have other things mounted to your side rails, like we have a bed rack mounted here. The factory backing plates that come with these are not going to be able to slide down this unless we unbolted the bed rack and took out the T-nut from behind it. So by using these new T-nuts that come with these, we'll be able to mount these in without having to remove anything. It'll just make things a little bit easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take out these factory tie downs. So we're just going to loosen these. And then what we're going to do is push this in and twist it, and these will come out. So you can see these have a T-nut just like we're going to be installing, which makes it easier for putting these on and taking them off. Okay, so if you don't plan on getting the T-nuts, all you're going to have to do is pre-assemble this, put your backing plate on there with this piece sticking in towards the tie down. Get your bolt started so that this is still movable, and then you're just going to take this end cap, push in the center, pull it out, and that will allow you to get this slipped in. Now obviously we can't push this all the way down because this is in place, but you would just put these down your side rail wherever you want them and tighten down your bolts. Since we are not using the original backing plates, I'm going to go ahead, take our 6mm Allen wrench. I'm going to pull out these bolts and we'll get the T-nuts in place. So we got the original hardware back in there. We're going to take one of these T-nuts and we're just going to get it started, a couple of threads so that it can't fall off. We're going to put one on both Allen bolts. Now what we're going to do is position the T-nuts going left to right like this, so it follows the same shape of the tie down, and that will allow us to get this in to our side rail. Now once we start tightening the screws or the bolts, those T-nuts are going to twist, locking them into place, and we can tighten them down. All right, so we got the first one installed, pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and do another one, but we're going to be using these speed knobs. So we'll go ahead and take this apart, take out the original bolts. We'll take 2 of the speed knobs, we'll drop those in, and then we'll take 2 T-nuts and we'll get those started, and then we'll get this one installed. All right, we got the second one assembled here. We're up in the bed of the Tacoma, and now we're just going to take this, drop in our T-nuts like so, and now we can tighten these with our finger. So the whole point of these speed knobs is that you can tighten and loosen these with your fingers, so that if you are constantly moving these up and down the rails to accommodate for different things in the back of your truck, you can easily do it without grabbing tools. All right, we got those two installed. When you're installing them, just make sure that those T-nuts do spin and get locked in behind the rail before you fully tighten them down. So we're gonna go ahead and get the other two done on the passenger side, and then we'll get into the next tie down. Next up, we have the center tie down here. This is going to be very simple. We got the tie down, we got 2 Allen screws, and then we have our 4mm Allen wrench. Like I mentioned, we have 2 riv nuts up in the center front of the bed. We're just going to take this up there and get those 2 screws tightened down. So we're just going to put this in place, tighten down our screws, and it's as simple as that. Next up, we have our front bed tie down. So we got 1 for each side. We got the hardware it comes with, and then we have our ratchet extension and our T40 Torx socket. So let's go ahead, jump back up into the bed and get those front bed hooks removed. So we'll go ahead and get our 2 bolts loosened up here. This is gonna be really easy. Now, depending on your truck, you might have a aftermarket sprayed in bed liner, and they would probably spray right over this stuff. So the inside of your bolts are going to be filled with bed liner, and the socket is not going to fit in there very well. So you might need to take like a pick or a flathead screwdriver and remove that so that you can get the socket in place. Another thing you might want to use is a utility knife to just cut around the edge of this hook so that when you go and pull it off, it doesn't also peel your bed liner. All right, now we'll take our new one with the hardware and our 6mm Allen wrench, and we'll just get these in place. All right, we got the 2 front bed tie downs installed. Now we have the D-rings right here. These are gonna be the last ones we do. So again, we have our ratchet, we have our T40 Torx socket, and we're gonna get these factory bolts removed and get these new ones installed. All right, so let's go ahead and crack these loose. We got that unbolted. We are going to be using everything here, the bolt, the little spacer, the lock washer, and the flat washer. Now, there'll be a small plastic washer that is just used to hold all of these other washers on so it doesn't fall off in the process of installing it. If you can get this off without breaking it, you can reuse it, but the kit does come with new ones. So we're going to go ahead and take all this stuff off. Make sure to put it back on in the same order so that everything works properly. So we have our new one here. We're going to drop down the bolt, and now we have our stack of washers. So it's going to be the thick spacer, the lock washer, the flat washer, and then your new plastic washer. Now, if you want, you can apply a little bit of blue Loctite to these threads if you want. It's probably not 100% necessary, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Get this down in place and tighten it down. All right, we got both of the Billet D-rings installed. These look way better than the factory ones. They flip up and down really nicely, and they still move from side to side, so you can get them positioned just perfectly for tying down whatever it is that you want to do. Now we have one last thing from Charvonia that we're going to show you guys how to install, and that is the rail end caps that they offer. So right here on the end of your rails, you have these plastic caps, which you can easily just push in and pull out. We're going to be replacing those with these new ones. They just have a little bit more styling than your factory ones. These are really simple. You're just going to push it into the end of your rail. I have a 3/32 Allen wrench here. There's a small little set screw in there. We're just going to go ahead and snug this down. You don't want to get crazy. These are 3D printed. You just need enough so that they're not going to fall out. And it's a nice little touch to the end of your rail. All right, we'll go ahead and get the other one installed. These do come in a pack of 2 or 6, depending on how many you want to do. And after we're done with this, we're finished up. All right guys, that's gonna be a wrap for this one. We got all of the billet tie downs installed on the 3rd gen Tacoma from Charvonia Design. If you guys wanna add some function and styling to the bed of your truck, make sure to check these out. They're available at YotaXpedition.com. Click the link down in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.